Good morning, T24 students. Welcome back to another session in becoming experts in algebra. This lesson, there's only 4 examples, so it will be a shorter video than last week, and then you can get going on the work. It is also your favorite topic, solving equations. We've done this earlier in the school year, so it's part 2. We're revisiting it. As you can see by this notation at the top, this entire left column, so all the problems on the left side of the sheet are single variable solving equations. So for example, on 1, we're solving for n. All the variables are n. Same with example 2. On the right column, all of the equations are multivariable, x and y. It's important for you to be able to solve both kinds for the STAR test. Alright, let's start on example 1. First step, we combine like terms. We have a 4n minus 2n. 4 minus 2 is 2. n equals 4. We are wanting to isolate the variable n. So how do we get rid of that 2? Alright. If you did not just think the answer, you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing during T24. Every time I ask a question, think about what your answer would be. Right now, the 2 is currently multiplying times the n, 2 times n. So to get rid of that, to undo multiplication, we have to divide. And if we divide by 2 on one side, we have to divide by 2 on the other to keep the equation balanced. 2 divided by 2 is 1, or just n, 1n, equals 4 divided by 2 is 2. Alright, very simple. Solving for single variables. Let's try example 2. Still solving for one variable. Here's the n. So what are the 2 numbers that are in the way of the variable that we need to get rid of? Alright, if you thought that the 2 and the 10 were in the way, then you're correct. We need to get rid of them. First, we get rid of the one that's being added or subtracted. In this case, it is minus 10. So how do you get rid of minus 10? You should have thought plus 10. And if we do that on one side, we'll do it on the other. Plus 10. We're left on the right side with n over 2 equals negative 6 plus 10. When you add a negative integer, positive integers, they cancel. We're left with positive 4. How do we get rid of that 2? What is the 2 currently doing to the n? Well, it's under the fraction division line, so that means it's dividing. The opposite of division is multiplication. So we multiply both sides by 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1, or n, 1n. 2 times 4 is 8. Alright, simple enough. The process as you're working your way through on the single variable side is combine like terms and then isolate the variable. You don't have them in your classrooms because we're practicing by hand, but just so that you remember on the STAR test, remember if there's an equal sign and one type of variable, for example n, you can type it in your calculator. Menu 3, which is the choice for algebra, 1, which is the choice for insolve, and then you would type the equation, and then at the end, do you remember what you would have to put in the calculator? Hopefully you said comma n, and then you'd hit enter, or whatever the variable is, comma x, whatever. Alright, but we're not practicing that. You don't have calculators because T24 is where we're getting good at doing the math by hand. Alright, so that's solving single variables. The whole left side of the page is going to be done like that. You can see, for example, on number 3, you have some distribution where you have to multiply 5 times 2x and 5 times 6 and negative 4 times negative 5 and negative 4 times 2x. Once you do that step of distribution, it is exactly like the problems up here. You then combine like terms, get all your x's on one side, solve for the variable. No problem. Alright, now let's do a couple quick examples of multivariable. So in this case, we're given an equation with an x and a y. Do you remember the name of this kind of equation, the way it's written? If you did, kudos to you. It's called standard form. ax plus by equals c, standard form. Something x, something y equals a number. And we are told that we need to get it into slope-intercept form. Do you remember what slope-intercept form is? Hopefully you should have remembered that. Y equals mx plus b, where b is the y-intercept and m is the, do you remember, slope. Alright, so let's work our way through. This type that has two variables, you wouldn't be able to put it in the calculator anyways. You can only do that on single variable problems. So if we are trying to get the y on its own side, that means we have to isolate it. So we have to get rid of the 3x and that 2. First we get rid of the x value. It's what's being added or subtracted to the y value. So how do we get rid of that 3x? If you said minus 3x, you are correct. We take minus 3x on the left side, and if we do it on one side of the equation, we have to do it on the other. If you're one of those students who just thought, well, I thought because there's a minus sign here, we should have done plus 3x. That's a mistake students will commonly make. That minus right here, however, is being applied to the 2. It's negative 2 or minus 2y. The 3x is a positive 3x, so we have to do the opposite of the positive 3x, minus 3x. Alright, 3x minus 3x is 0. We don't have to write the 0 there. Then left on the left side is still negative 2y equals, can I combine these? You should think no, because this is a regular number and this one's a variable number. Like terms can only be combined, and these are not like terms. Alright, so we have negative 3x minus 16. Since they told us to put it in slope-intercept form, we would want to put the 3x first. If they hadn't specified slope-intercept form and they had just said solve for y, it wouldn't matter if we put the 16 first or the 3. Alright, so that was all one step. Just move the x to the other side. And now there's just one more step. We still have to get the y on its own. What is that negative 2 doing to the y? When a number is next to a variable, it means multiply. So to get rid of multiplication or undo it, we have to divide by negative 2, and we divide the entire other side by negative 2. Negative 2 divided by negative 2 is positive 1, so we're just left with 1y equals. At this point, you have to divide both things, so we're going to divide this. Negative 3 divided by negative 2, does it divide evenly? No. The negative and the negative cancel, and so we're left with positive 3 over 2x. When it doesn't divide evenly, we leave it like a fraction. And we still have to do negative 16 divided by negative 2. Does that divide evenly? Yes. Negative 16 divided by negative 2 is positive 8. A negative divided by a negative is a positive. Alright, so we have our answer. So here again, simple two steps. Move the x to the other side, divide by the coefficient to get rid of it. Let's try one more, and then you'll be on your own. It says put it in slope-intercept form. We need to isolate the y. First we get rid of the x. How do I get rid of that 6x? Well, it's positive 6x, so we'll say minus 6x minus 6x. 6x minus 6x is 0. We don't have to write the 0. 5y is still left on that side. I cannot combine a 15, a regular number, and a variable number, so I just write it, negative 6x minus 15. Very important not to leave your signs out, positive and negative. So that's step 1, move the x. Step 2, divide by the coefficient. 5 divided by 5 is 1, so it's 1y equals, you have to divide the left side, negative 6 divided by 5. Does it divide evenly? No, so we just leave it as a fraction, negative 6 over 5x. We do not turn this into a mixed number like you would in middle school because it's slope-intercept form. We want slope to be rise over run. A mixed number is less useful excuse me, than an improper fraction. Alright, last, divide negative 15 divided by 5. Does it divide evenly? Yes, 15 divided by 5 is 3, and it's positive divided by a negative, or negative divided by a positive. Opposites give us negative 5. Scratch that, -3. All right. At this point, you now have two examples of both kinds. As I said, as you work your way through, the left side is all single variable, right side is all multivariable. Good luck and happy algebra.